Tyler Perry hurting black people.
Tyler Perry's about to buy BET. You don't think that's like, I'm buying it back from them selling it to
all they go do is put them Tyler Perry movies on there that paints the black man in a light.
I don't watch Tyler Perry movies. And,
now can you tell me why? I want to know why you don't watch Tyler Perry. I want to hear your opinion on Tyler Perry.
So this is Mega of Mike's Unleashed, and I'm just saying this is why I don't watch Tyler Perry movies. I think Tyler Perry movies are all very stereotypical when it comes to black people. He enhances the sort of the negative aspect of blacks. Do see him with some shows. I hear about it. I wasn't a fan of the Madea character. I didn't see what all the hoopla and everything, all that the character was about, which was funny, and it didn't click to me. But when I've seen some of her, not just her, but when I see Tyler Perry shows, they're just very stereotypical, and I'm just like, I'm out of that.
BET, Black Entertainment Television, the worst network I have ever come across. The most low down, the most dirty, the one who exploits black people the most besides Tyler Perry. Shout out to Tyler Perry for exploiting black women.
It is possible that there isn't anything funnier than a guy in a dress. And if that's the case, then it might also be said that there's nothing funnier than a black guy in a dress.
There's a saying, when the devil ignores you, then you know you're doing something wrong. Wait, I'm not done now. The devil goes, oh no, leave him alone. He's my favorite. Don't bother him.
Yeah.
Conversely, when the devil comes at you, maybe it's because you're trying to do something right.
Welcome back to Fame Drop. For years, whispers about Tyler Perry floated through black barbershops and over Sunday dinners. Quiet but sharp, people said his movies were messy, his sets full of tension, and his methods straight up questionable. But no matter how loud Black Twitter got, no matter how deep academics tried to dig, none of it could touch the man sitting on a billion-dollar throne. Hollywood's most powerful black mogul looked completely untouchable. Then, boom, everything started shifting. Two absolute legends, Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson, drew a line so clear you could feel the chill in the air. They didn't post threads or drop interviews. They made their statement through silence, through their absence. When Denzel and Sam say no to working with you, it's never about scheduling or a paycheck. It's about something much deeper and darker. But before we dive into what they found, understand this. This isn't just another round of celebrity drama. This is a real clash between artistic integrity and money power, a full-on battle between creative vision and financial domination. Tyler Perry didn't stumble into success. He engineered it. Every film, every storyline, every tear-jerking scene followed a tight formula that's been sparking controversy from day one. And if you think that formula went unnoticed, think again. One man who's never been afraid to speak his mind, Spike Lee, had plenty to say. You know Spike doesn't sugarcoat anything when it comes to black stories on screen, and when he spoke about Tyler Perry, let's just say the words were sharp enough to cut glass.
A lot of stuff that's on today is coonery buffoonery. And I know it's making a lot of money, breaking records, but we could do better. That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm a huge basketball fan, and when I watch the games on TNT, I see these two ads for these two shows, I'm scratching my head. We got a black president. Are we going back to Mantan Moreland and sleep and eat?
Enjoying the video so far? Smash that like button and subscribe to Fame Drop so you're here for the next one. That word coonery, you don't just toss that around in the black community. It's heavy, it's loaded, and it carries history. So when Spike Lee, the mind behind Do the Right Thing, and Malcolm X called Tyler Perry's work coonery and buffoonery, it hit like a lightning strike. That's basically the artistic version of being excommunicated, a straight-up cultural call-out that doesn't fade easily. But here's the wild part. Spike said that all the way back in 2011, and what happened next? Tyler Perry's career didn't crash. It skyrocketed. His movies kept breaking box office records, his studios grew even bigger, and Hollywood, They just kept throwing him bags of money. So now the real question hits. Why didn't that criticism stick? Why didn't it slow him down for even a second? That's when another voice stepped in. And this one hit different. Not a celebrity, not a Hollywood insider, just an everyday black woman speaking straight from the heart. And sometimes, those are the voices that pierce through all the fame and noise. When regular people start speaking up, that's when things get real.
Tyler Perry hates black women, and I'm not saying allegedly because the proof is in the pudding. It is becoming more evident that Tyler only sees black women as hardworking, struggling, great victims that, of course, one day are going to be rescued by a blue-collared black man. After watching the trailer of his latest film, Straw, starring Taraji P. Henson, I'm a little offended. And honestly, I'm still recovering from mea culpa. He has managed to make billions of dollars off the backs of black female pain, and I'm sick of it. The media is a huge outlet for the insight of others. I partially blame the media for people's derogatory perspectives about black women worldwide. I'm not talking about the Beyoncés and Oprahs and Kerry Washingtons of the world. I'm talking about normal, everyday black women. It is dangerous to continue to depict us in such a lowbrow manner. Looking at you too, Issa Rae, one of them days, really? Where's our Legally Blonde? Where's our Pretty Woman? Well, maybe not Pretty Woman, but you know what I mean. Even in movies where we should be happy and preppy, like Bring It On, of course we have to be the mean black bully cheerleaders. Do you know what type of message that's sending to everyone else? As a black woman, I am tired of being showcased as a bottom-of-the-barrel human being.
Did you hear the pain in her voice? That wasn't just some random movie review. That was raw emotion. When she said Tyler Perry despises black women, she wasn't being dramatic. She was talking about watching herself and her community being shown in ways that sting, that make people feel small or embarrassed. That kind of hurt hits deep because it's not about fiction anymore. It's about identity, pride, and the power of how you're seen on screen. And now, here's where things start heating up even more. Remember when Cat Williams went on Club Shay Shay and basically blew up the internet? Yeah, he didn't hold back either. He had plenty to say about Tyler Perry, and trust me, it goes way past the whole dress-wearing talk. What Cat hinted at was bigger, darker, and it got people whispering for weeks.
It's not a biggest choice for others. I'm saying at the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him. So now we have Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I've never seen Medea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next.
Okay.
Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them.
Wait a second. Did Cat just link Tyler Perry to the Illuminati? That's a wild claim, right? But before anyone rolls their eyes, let's break it down for real. Whether you believe in that kind of thing or not, what Cat was really pointing at wasn't just conspiracy. It was control. He was talking about how Hollywood can feel like a system built on strings, where invisible hands decide who rises and who disappears. He's saying there are powerful forces behind the scenes, people or systems that pull the levers, and sometimes success doesn't come free. Certain compromises might be expected, quiet deals that change everything. And that's where Dave Chappelle's warnings come crashing back into the conversation. Remember how he's been talking about that whole men in dresses situation for years? People laughed it off, called it a stretch, but when you start lining things up, the timing, the names, the repeating patterns, it starts looking way too deliberate to just brush off. Something deeper might be going on here.
I'm a conspiracy theorist to a degree. Like when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers gotta wear a dress. That's happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in a trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in. The writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a... and he put this dress on and, huh? What? The prostitute? Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in the discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it. So, well, if all the greats have done it, it's kind of hacky, right? You're right. So why don't we just not do it? Because I don't feel comfortable wearing a dress. Oh, come on, Dave. Listen, we got it all set up. We're supposed to shoot. Every minute you waste costs this much money. You know, the pressure comes in. He said, I'm not wearing no dress, man. I'm funnier than a dress. Just give me something funny to say. I don't need to wear no dress to be funny. What am I, Milton Berle? You know, we're going like this. And then finally he's like, and he leaves. And then like the director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress. What is wrong? What is this, Brokeback Mountain in here? So, wear the dress. I don't want to wear the dress. I want to wear this dress. You know what I mean? This is, oh gosh, this guy's so difficult. They leave. Now the producers comes, come on, David would be so great. I mean, and then I started thinking about it. All the comics that I've seen, man, you know, strong brothers, why they be putting us in these dresses? But the minute it was clear, I was adamant, I'm not wearing a dress. I'm not wearing the dress. All right, fine. Think of something else. That comes back 10 minutes later. The whole new scene. Hot damn, how did you write the scene so fast?
Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million. Let that sink in. $50 million left sitting on the table, all because he refused to wear a dress. That's not pocket change. That's generational wealth. He gave it up out of pure principle, choosing peace over pressure. Meanwhile, Tyler Perry took that very same concept, putting black men in dresses, and built an empire out of it. His name turned into a billion-dollar brand. That's wild, right? But here's the thing that really hits hard. Dave and Kat are both saying the same thing, just in different voices. They're both exposing a system in Hollywood that doesn't just hand out success, it conditions it. A system that rewards certain behavior and quietly punishes anything that challenges it. They're saying talent and hard work don't always cut it. Sometimes it's about what you're willing to do, or in Dave's case, what you're brave enough to refuse. And that leads us right back to the big question. Why do Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson refuse to work with Tyler Perry? When you piece it all together, from what Spike Lee called out, to what Kat and Dave warned about, to that woman's raw pain, it becomes clear this isn't about movie taste or creative clashes. This is something way deeper. We're talking about the soul of black cinema itself, about whether success is worth selling your integrity. Because once you see the patterns, you can't unsee them. And trust me, what's coming next will make things crystal clear. Now here's where it gets really interesting. We've been talking about industry politics, creative choices, and power games. But what if I told you there's a spiritual side to all this? What if Denzel Washington's refusal to work with Tyler Perry goes deeper than just creative differences? See, Denzel isn't just any actor. He's Hollywood royalty, but also a man grounded in faith. He's a preacher's son who's always spoken about the battle between good and evil, right and wrong. And when someone like Denzel takes a stand, you know it's coming from a place of conviction, not ego. So when he steps back from a project, it's not just business, it's spiritual. And wait till you hear this. Denzel once spoke about spiritual warfare, but if you really listen to what he's saying, it sounds like a warning.
There's a saying, when the devil ignores you, then you know you're doing something wrong. Wait a minute, I'm not done now. You know, the devil goes, oh no, leave him alone. Hey, he's my favorite. Don't bother him.
Yeah.
Conversely, when the devil comes at you, maybe it's because you're trying to do something right.
Denzel once said something powerful. If you're too comfortable in Hollywood, that might actually be a bad sign. If no one's coming for you, if everything's running smooth, that could mean you've made peace with the wrong side. But when the devil starts throwing obstacles your way, that's when you know you're standing for something real. Think about that for a second. Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million and people called him crazy. Cat Williams spoke his truth and got blacklisted. Spike Lee called out the system and got pushed to the sidelines. Meanwhile, Tyler Perry keeps getting rewarded, praised, and funded at every turn. So, according to Denzel's logic, who's actually walking the righteous path here? Now here's where things get personal. It's one thing to talk about spiritual principles or Hollywood politics, but it's a whole different story when someone disrespects you directly. And apparently, that's exactly what went down with Denzel. He once mentioned an experience where he was supposed to take on a certain role, something that felt wrong, even offensive, and he described it as they tried to electrocute him, but it didn't work. He never dropped any names, but the timing and the context had people connecting the dots. And listen, this is Denzel Washington we're talking about, a two-time Oscar winner, 4 decades in the game, a man whose name carries respect. For someone at his level to call a role offer disrespectful, that's not small talk, that's a statement. In Hollywood, there's this unspoken rule. A-list legends don't usually turn down offers from big, successful directors unless something's seriously off. So when a man like Denzel walks away, you better believe there's a deeper reason behind it. Now think about it. Tyler Perry isn't some small-time filmmaker trying to make it big. This man has built a billion-dollar empire. His movies keep raking in cash, his TV shows get renewed season after season, and studios love him because his work sells. So why would someone like Denzel Washington, a man who's worked with everyone from Spike Lee to Tony Scott to Ridley Scott, find Perry's projects so objectionable that he wouldn't even consider being part of one? Well, there's one theory floating around Hollywood circles, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense once you start connecting the pieces. It's not just about creative differences, it's about principles, about what Denzel stands for, what he refuses to compromise on, and what Perry's brand might represent to him. Because sometimes a no in Hollywood isn't just rejection, it's resistance. And when it comes from someone like Denzel, it speaks volumes.
The people who actually own the entertainment industry, they not gonna allow Tyler Perry to make movies about Black women winning in life. Cause they don't, cause the higher ups, the government, the world really don't like Black women. And they wouldn't dare want Black women to get inspired, or that makes so much sense. Girl, you just made me think about it.
Now that's a wild thought, right? What if Tyler Perry isn't the real mastermind behind any of this? What if he's just another player caught in a much bigger system, one that controls who rises, who falls, and how Black stories get told? What if there are powerful people above him, pulling strings, using his success to push certain images of Black life out to the world? Think about it. Tyler Perry went from being homeless to a billionaire practically overnight. That kind of meteoric rise doesn't just happen in Hollywood without serious backing. Denzel Washington has been in this game for over 40 years. He knows the difference between genuine talent and a project that's been boosted by the system. So when Denzel refuses to work with someone, it's not just about creative vision, it's about spiritual discernment. And when a man who's worked with legends like Spike Lee, Ridley Scott, and Tony Scott calls Tyler Perry's approach disrespectful, you know something's off. Because in Hollywood, respect is currency. And when that line gets crossed, it's never by accident. Denzel's not the type to throw shade just for drama. If his spiritual radar starts buzzing, there's usually a reason. And maybe, just maybe, the truth is that the devil really is hiding in the fine print of those production contracts. But here's where it starts getting real. It's one thing to talk about artistic clashes or spiritual values. It's another thing entirely when people start revealing what it's actually like to work behind the scenes. And some of these stories, they'll make your skin crawl. Because while the cameras show glitz and glamour, what happens backstage is a whole different story. Let's talk about someone who was actually there. Meet Brandon J., a man who worked directly on Tyler Perry's productions. He's not a random critic, not some outsider with opinions. He's someone who lived it. And what he's about to share might sound unbelievable, but remember, this is coming straight from someone who saw it all unfold with his own eyes.
Meet the Browns was the most stressful and hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. I had no idea that Tyler Perry Studios' schedule was so drastic. If you're working on a regular network show, they take a whole week to film an episode. Tyler Perry Studios, they film an episode in one day. The character was Jeffrey, a fat high school teenager who was very intellectual, who was getting bullied at school. I take 2 to 3 days to learn the entire script. On the day of filming, first thing we do is a table read. I know all of my lines. I'm ready to go. So the director, who is Alfonso Ribeiro Carlton in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he starts to block us, telling the actors where to go, where to stand. Mr. Perry comes in, everything changes. So we literally run the entire episode for him, and he hates it. Does that mean I have to learn a whole new script? Yes, that's what it means. Mr. Perry, on the spot, starts rewriting the entire script, and he's feeding me the lines to say, and the director is kind of standing on the side like, you better do it, because if not, they will fire you. Here is where the shoe hit the fan. So in the middle of Mr. Perry changing up the scenes, he says, you know, I want Jeffrey to be gay, and he has a crush on his bully. That's not what I auditioned for.
In any regular workplace, that kind of behavior would scream hostile environment. But in Tyler Perry's world, apparently, that's just another Tuesday. People brushing it off like it's normal when it's anything but. Imagine showing up to set and never knowing what kind of chaos is waiting for you. That kind of tension eats away at you, day after day. And the mental toll it takes on the actors. It's heavy, way heavier than most people realize. But don't take my word for it. Let Brandon tell you himself. What he describes next will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about those productions.
I remember the person that I wanted to impress the most was Mr. Perry. I always looked up to him, and he was just sitting on the side looking at me. He was just looking at me, like waiting for me to do something. I felt like he was about to fire me. Everybody's expecting me to pull something out. They don't even let me finish the third take. They're like, cut, we need to reset. So at this time, I just kind of black out, and I get so angry and frustrated in the moment that when they call action on the fourth take, I lose it. I'm screaming, I'm yelling, I'm crying. Not because I was acting, but I was feeling those emotions because of how overwhelmed I was.
You know what really hits hard about all this? Brandon's finally speaking out years later. Not for fame, not for clout, but because he wants the truth out there. He's risking his name to pull back the curtain. But it makes you wonder, how many other actors went through the exact same thing and still haven't said a word? How many are staying silent because they're terrified of losing their careers or being blacklisted if they speak up? That silence says everything. Because when people are too scared to talk, it means there's power in play, and not the good kind. Protecting Tyler Perry's image might be more about fear than loyalty, and that's what makes this whole situation so disturbing. And that brings me to something that's been bugging me about this story from the start. We've covered the artistic debates, the spiritual warnings, and the toxic workplace claims. But there's another conversation, one that's been floating around in whispers and side chats, the kind people avoid saying out loud, another layer of allegations that no one's been brave enough to confront head on until now.
I find it weird how whenever he came out, people was talking about him, people was disrespecting him. Tyler Perry was doing everything in his power to have him on mute. Now a white man is coming out, now it's more important. Oh my gosh, Tyler Perry him. What about Christian? Nobody's talking about Christian, are they? I genuinely find it weird how black people ignore the fact that people who are rich, black people who are rich, they get rich off of the backs of us, and we continue to support their behavior. They have money to quiet people, and we continue to support their behavior. And then years and decades later, here come the Diddy case. I don't want to hear about it because y'all have seen the things that has happened to black people, but y'all only care when it's a non-black person.
Now that hit different, didn't it? Because what that person just pointed out isn't random. It's a pattern. Years ago, when Christian Keys tried to speak up about inappropriate behavior in the industry, he was shut down fast. Nobody backed him up. Nobody took him seriously. And before long, his story just vanished into the background noise. But now, years later, with lawsuits, testimonies, and legal papers piling up, suddenly everyone's acting shocked, like they didn't see it coming. That's how the system works, though. It isolates people, buries the truth, and makes sure anyone who dares to speak up gets painted as difficult or crazy. They discredit the victims until the evidence becomes impossible to ignore. But here's the thing. The truth always finds a way to break through, no matter how deep it's buried. And once you really grasp what's been happening, the toxic workplaces, the silenced voices, the layers of protection shielding certain people, you start to realize something huge. Denzel wasn't just turning down a movie role. He was refusing to be part of something darker. That's not ego. That's moral courage. And in Hollywood, courage like that is rare. But here's where things get intense. So buckle up. We're about to step into serious territory. Allegations that are part of ongoing legal cases. Everything here is alleged, but the testimonies and documents coming out are painting a picture that's hard to ignore. The kind of picture that ties every piece of this story together in a way that'll make you rethink everything you thought you knew. For years, there have been whispers in Hollywood, quiet talk about Tyler Perry's behavior behind closed doors. But whispers don't hold up in court, and rumors don't shake empires. What does create change is when people stop whispering and start coming forward, with documents, with proof, with voices too loud to silence. And that's exactly what started happening, right before everything began to unravel.
Before it started, he was already accused of doing something he shouldn't have been doing. There were rumors floating around that Tyler Perry was pressuring people to watch Netflix with him forcibly. If you don't know what that means, look in the comments. Now, this is important because rumors are how these big cases get started in the first place. If you think about Diddy, rumors for years that, Diddy was doing Diddy things. Jay-Z, before his lawsuit, rumors. Jay-Z doing this, that, and the third. Bill Cosby, they were trying to start lawsuits against him for decades, but his image was too clean. If they just jump out and say Bill Cosby did this, it's just so out of nowhere, people be like, no, Bill Cosby would never do that, and your lawsuit's gonna kind of fall by the wayside.
That Netflix and chill line might sound lighthearted at first, but when it's a boss using that kind of talk to pressure employees into uncomfortable personal situations, that's not flirting. That's exploitation. There's nothing playful about it. It crosses a line, a big one, especially when it happens at work, where people should feel safe. And what's worse, according to multiple sources, this kind of behavior has reportedly been happening for years. But for the longest time, it all stayed trapped in rumor form, whispered stories that no one could prove. Because in Hollywood, rumors disappear fast unless someone steps up with evidence. Well, that's exactly what happened when actor Derek Dixon finally said, enough. He decided to break the silence and tell his truth. And once he spoke up, everything started to shift.
Tyler Perry and Tyler Perry Studios are now being accused by one of their former actors, Braxton Wells, of covering up his NSA by one of their top executives. Braxton Wells is a former actor from the series Ruthless, was also featured in The Oval. Sound familiar? As you know, it was just last month that Derek Dixon sued Tyler Perry for $260 million. Well, apparently, Braxton Wells settled with Tyler Perry Studios back in October of 2024, not that long ago. He accused Tyler Perry's senior vice president of him and NSAing him. He also alleged that Mark Swinton drugged him allegedly. Mark is on the left. He's worked with Tyler Perry for multiple years, probably like 15 plus years on scripted television projects and movies. So Braxton Wells on his social media shared various videos, screenshots, and even his settlement agreement where he settled with Tyler Perry Studios, Tyler Perry, and Mark in this settlement agreement, which he also signed a non-disclosure agreement. In the settlement, he received $500,000. However, $201,000 went to his legal team. However, he's claiming that he felt like he was misrepresented by his legal team. He says that Derek Dixon's attorney, he had reached out to him before the whole Derek Dixon of it all, and he refused to take his case. However, wants him to be involved in Derek's case. It should be noted that Braxton is a former Army vet, and he says there were certain things because he's a vet he should have been afforded when it comes to his rights. He also filed a police report in regards to this. He had posted, even before he posted here, he had posted before he made the settlement with his claims. He believes the attorney that represented him were in cahoots with Tyler Perry and Tyler Perry Studios. Braxton also believes even though he signed the settlement agreement and there's a non-disclosure within the settlement agreement, he believes that it's voided because he signed that under duress. He's believing that his legal team misrepresented him. He believes that they were working with Tyler Perry's legal team against him. But here's the thing. Although people settle for a variety of different reasons, within the settlement, it does say that they do not claim Tyler Perry Studios, Mark, or Tyler Perry. They do not claim any responsibility or being guilty of what he's accusing them of. However, like I said, people settle for different reasons. I just don't understand why you would settle when your senior VP is being accused of R-ing someone. According to Braxton, he alleges that Tyler Perry and Tyler Perry Studios are covering up for a predator.
Studio cover-ups? That's not just one person crossing a line. That's a whole system protecting the problem. When entire studios are allegedly stepping in to silence victims and bury complaints, you're no longer dealing with bad behavior. You're staring at institutional protection. That means the mistreatment isn't random. It's built into the machine. And this is where things get really serious. Because now, we're not just talking about workplace exploitation or toxic power dynamics. The allegations have reached an entirely different level. We're talking about accusations of serious misconduct, the kind that no one can just brush off or explain away. And here's what makes it even more shocking. The person coming forward isn't some anonymous name on the internet. He's someone who actually worked side by side with Tyler Perry for years. Someone who saw what went on up close and finally decided it was time to speak.
This person was, me for years. He was claiming, that he had multiple young black men on the payroll, and they just had to show up when he requested them to be there. And clearly that's why it felt to him that it was okay to say these things. And I want to have these discussions. I want to be transparent with y'all about that. I've done my best to forgive this person, but it happens. It happens. It's not just women that have to deal with it, but it's also men sometimes. And it'll be men tempting men. And that's why a lot of my posts over the last few years have been about taking the scenic route, taking the long way around, because if that means that you can carry your integrity with you.
But here's what makes Christian's testimony hit so hard. He didn't just sit back and suffer in silence. He was watching, documenting, and quietly building a case the whole time. Every message, every incident, every moment that didn't sit right, he kept receipts. That's what gives his words real weight, because he didn't just speak, he came with proof.
Once this started, I was like, well, I got to protect me, because I'm saying no, and I don't want this person, as powerful as they are, to try to get in the way of my work. So I started recording. So I have them offering me money to take my clothes off. I have recordings when I wasn't working with them or for them. I have recordings of them confessing that, the other guys that they have on the payroll, all of the above. And the difference is, the wonderful thing about confidentiality agreements and non-disclosure agreements is that they can't prevent you from turning all of those things over to the police, because there's a crime. Attempt is a felony. And Tams, you literally just asked, why do we as black people have to deal with that? But sometimes it's our own people. Sometimes it's our own heroes. It's the sometimes it's the very people we deify. And we look up like, oh, they're doing so much, they're doing so much. No, they're also doing this.
He recorded everything: messages, calls, emails, full-on documentation, and hard proof. This isn't just a he said situation anymore. This is receipts on deck. According to Christian Keys, there's actual evidence backing up these allegations, and when he talks about many others on his payroll, he's not exaggerating. He's pointing to what looks like a systematic pattern of mistreatment that might involve multiple people, not just one isolated story. And here's the chilling part. Christian Keys has been trying to tell his story for years. He's been waving the red flag, but nobody wanted to hear it. People dismissed him, ignored him, acted like he was just stirring trouble. Sound familiar? It's the same pattern we've been seeing this whole time. Victims get silenced, discredited, brushed aside until the evidence becomes too loud to bury. And that leads us straight to the lawsuit shaking up Hollywood right now. Actor Derek Dixon, who worked on Tyler Perry's The Oval, has officially filed a $260 million lawsuit. And the details in those court papers, they're wild. These aren't vague claims. They're some of the most detailed allegations ever seen in a case like this, the kind that could change everything if proven true.
Meet Derek Dixon, a man who's suing Tyler Perry for $260 million. Now, he's suing Tyler Perry for something called quid pro quo. Listen closely. Quid pro quo basically means if you do something for me, I do something for you. But see, a lot of times it's not that simple because there's an unspoken flip side. If you don't do this something for me, who knows what's gonna happen to you? Now let's get a little deeper into the story. Now this is all alleged, so pretend I'm saying alleged in front of anything. Okay, so Derek Dixon said, look, he's working at a party, right, as event staff. Tyler Perry's at that party. He said, oh, who that? He goes up to Derek Dixon and said, hey, you wanna be in some movies and stuff? Derek Dixon said, oh man, this is my big break. Tyler Perry must see something in me. Now, thing is, to the public, Tyler Perry is known as a really nice guy. So Derek Dixon is just automatically assuming that. So Tyler starts texting him like, hey bro, like you good? Like what's going on? Derek said, what's going on with me, man? I just be chilling. Tyler Perry said, chilling in your new car. Look outside. Derek looks outside. Derek got a new car, courtesy of Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry said, matter of fact, you trying to act, right? Derek said, yeah. Tyler Perry said, come on my new show. Derek said, man, this dude is locked in. And suddenly, Tyler Perry start texting a little weird, sending a bunch of texts, calling all the time. Derek like, damn, slow down, broski. And Tyler start coming on a little strong, start getting a little bit inappropriate. Derek said, okay, let me just ignore this. It's all gonna go away. Tyler said, hey, come to the crib. Derek said, what? Tyler said, what? You work as event staff, right? Derek said, yeah. Tyler said, yeah, come to the crib. As event staff, bro. Come as event staff. So Derek comes to the crib. Everybody drinking, everybody having a good time. Derek drinking. Everybody leaves. Derek about to leave. Tyler says, no, you've been drinking. Derek says, yeah, that's true. Tyler says, you could just stay in my guest room. You good. Derek goes into the guest room. He don't got no pajamas, so he wears his underclothes, goes to sleep. Somebody climbs in the bed next to him. Hello, it's Tyler Perry. And you ain't heard me say it started to get wicked yet. We just getting started. Tyler Perry started grabbing on bro. Derek gets up. He says, yo, chill out, man. I don't really do that. I don't do that. Tyler says, oh, my fault. Derek said, all right, bro. Tyler said, all right, bro, I'm gonna catch you. Tyler leaves. Tyler then texts Derek. This is the next day. Tyler says, look, bro, I got a new show for you. Now, here's where the stakes get raised. Right now, Derek has got a small part in one of Tyler's smaller shows. After this incident happens, Tyler says, look, I got a bigger show for you in a bigger show. Derek says, all right, I'll do it. So Derek Dixon gets a part on Tyler Perry's show called The Oval. Whole time, Tyler Perry's still texting him, saying, see, if my friends do stuff for me, I do stuff for them. Quid pro quo, remember that. Now let's look at the flip side of quid pro quo. At the end of the season, Derek Dixon's character, who, side note, is a professional Netflix watcher who would do anything for money, that's his character gets
a quid pro quo setup. Career growth offered in exchange for favors. That's the heart of what Derek Dixon says went down. And when he refused to play along, his character was suddenly cut from the show. Just like that, this is the kind of power play that legends like Denzel Washington have been steering clear of for years. The kind of toxic environment that eats away at integrity from the inside out. Now, of course, Tyler Perry's legal team is calling all of this fabricated, labeling it a scam and claiming these men are just out for money. But let's be real, when multiple people start telling similar stories, with matching timelines and consistent details, it gets harder to brush off. When there are alleged receipts, recordings, and patterns that repeat over and over, it doesn't look like a money grab anymore. It starts looking like exposure, and that's where Denzel's spiritual insight, the same one we talked about earlier, suddenly makes perfect sense. Denzel's been in this industry for 4 decades. He's worked with the best, from Spike Lee to Ridley Scott, and he's known for being careful about who he aligns with. This is a man who's built his career on discipline, faith, and respect. So when he takes a stand, refusing to be part of a certain system or to work with certain people, maybe that's not stubbornness. Maybe that's wisdom, because what we're seeing unfold now, the lawsuits, the testimonies, the alleged cover-ups, all echo exactly what people like Denzel and Samuel L. Jackson have been warning about through their choices. They didn't need to tweet or rant. Their silence and absence said everything. And this isn't just about one person like Tyler Perry. This is about an industry, a billion-dollar machine that protects whoever keeps the profits rolling, no matter what happens behind the scenes. But the question hanging in the air is, will justice finally catch up, or will the system twist itself again to shield its golden name? And if respected legends like Denzel and Sam Jackson have been quietly protecting their integrity all this time, maybe that's our sign. Maybe it's time to rethink who really deserves our support in Hollywood, because when the lights fade and the cameras cut, all that's left is truth, and truth doesn't stay buried forever.